Welcome. In this video I'll be demoing how to cold start the AJS-37 Viggen as well as initialize the navigation system and finally take off. To start off we need to call up the ground crew and get ground electric power.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
Second, I'm going to close the canopy by clicking that knob twice.
Ground power is now on.
With the ground power on, I'm going to turn on the main power, the low pressure fuel valve, the generator, the high pressure fuel valve, and finally engage the starter. The starter will automatically turn off once the engine is running. And I will disable the master caution for now as well by pressing the middle button there. Next, I'll load the data cartridge by clicking there. And with our computer up, we can now begin entering stuff. So we're going to switch to Ref Lola, switch over to Input, and then type in 9099, and then Enter with this LS button down here. It's going to flash a few times and then it'll read all 0. Alright, it's loaded up. I'm now going to come over to the left side and turn on the navigation system. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but I did change this from input to output again. Next, I'm going to open up the oxygen valve right there. I'm going to turn on the IFF right there. And tell the chief to turn off the ground power.
Chief, turn off the ground power. Copy.
Now, the navigation system takes up to 2 minutes to properly boot up. You don't necessarily have to wait that whole time, but I do recommend waiting at least a minute. And I did forget one thing, or almost forgot one thing. I did not arm the ejection seat, so to do that we come back here and click on that handle. And that's it. The aircraft is now started up. Now the navigation system still needs to be fully initialized. We can only do that after we taxi onto the runway. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the computer here to AKT position. And I'm going to go ahead here and turn on a few lights. So I'm going to turn on position lights, formation lights, navigation lights, anti-collision. If we come over here and squish down in our seat, you can see the landing light right there. That's all of our lights on. Let's taxi out. Oh, and I didn't check to see if it was a full minute yet, or 2 minutes. So our navigation system may be completely foobar. Alright, now we have to... I wish ATC would shut up. We have to align very carefully down the runway. This is critical for initializing the navigation system. See here, we have our compass pointing one direction. However, if I initialize it by pressing the reference button, you see it jumps. Now this is very important, so I'm going to go ahead and show you where this is at. We go down to navigation here. See here, it's just called reference button. It's under navigation, and it does not have a default key. I've assigned it to my HOTUS. I recommend you do the same if you have a spare button, because it will be used a bit. Alright, with everything set, we are now good to go. We do have a takeoff helper down here that I think is of absolutely no value, but it is there. As we speed up, a bar will appear between these two lines and fill up. And the idea is, if you're fully loaded, when it hits the edge of those bars, you're ready to take off. But I'm not fully loaded, so I'm going to take off before then. It does happen to correspond to about 300 kilometers an hour. Off we go. G for gear up. We have our gear indicator right down there as those last 4 or 5 lights. And it's up. Now I didn't trim prior to takeoff, but we do have a trim indicator here, and as usual you would just assign that to a hat switch somewhere. And that's it. we're airborne and off we go. Thanks for watching. As soon as I shut down the recording anyways. Thanks.